Let's get John closer to his air conditioning. Finally, in 1980s news, as reported by Rolling Stone, the mysterious 1980s song has been identified. Now, you guys may recall, because even as we talk about these stories, reminiscing about our heydays as young folks, that there was a time before the advent of the internet. And it was during that era that if you tried to identify an unfamiliar song, you had to speak with another human being. And whether it was a friend or a record shop owner or a DJ, the conversation would go something like this. Hey, do you know the song that goes like, and then out of tune humming would commence. And they would either tell you or they didn't. Well, beginning in the 2000s, we started having these apps and internet sites that were developed for this very purpose. And some of them, like Shazam, use some technology that kind of, listen to the WAV file and then search a library of, now I imagine it's, millions of songs, and let you know what it is. Or websites like WatZatSong. What's that song? W-A-T-Z-A-T song. What's that song? Where they rely instead on crowdsourcing to identify unknown songs. And the way that, and then you've got the power of the world, I suppose, involved. And it's simple. You just, as a user of this site, you upload the track that you want to identify, and everybody that wants to participate tries to help. In many instances, the process is swift and songs are identified. In lots of other times, they're tougher to crack. But it wasn't until October of 2021 that WatZatSong received what would become its most infamous and enduring submission from a contributor in Spain going by the handle Carl92. And that song, by the way, joined, it turns out, countless others that are part of this quote-unquote lost wave.
I love that
phenomenon, which is just categories of songs that folks don't know the source of and are trying to uncover. And there's more than just this one, and some of them that are yet to be identified. Anyway, when Carl uploaded, John,
I'm thinking ahead.
Okay,
I thought he was melting.
Uploaded this file, he labeled it Pop English, indicating the genre and the language, and he wrote mid-'80s bad quality, and he made a parenthetical notation. Everyone knows that, which he's offering when he thinks it might have been recorded, and everyone knows that as an interpretation of how he heard the lyrics, which again it's kind of grainy. And he explained that, quote, I rediscovered this sample between a bunch of very old files and a DVD backup. Probably I was simply learning how to capture audio, and this was left over, end quote. As I mentioned, the recording is grainy. It's just 17 seconds long. It seems to capture what sounds like the catchy hook of an upbeat 80s new wave tune, although the lyrics are kind of hard to make out.
I agree.
And I have a clip. I have the clip here that he uploaded for you guys to hear.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's it. Well, it didn't attract much attention at first, but as the months passed without identification, excuse me. Yet, as the months passed without an identification, each proposal of a potential artist being ruled out one after another, a cultish fascination started to take hold.
It sounds fun.
Well,
yes.
2 years later, it's the most commented thread in WatZatSong history, and is now a 50,000 strong. And now there's now a 50,000 strong subreddit devoted to theories about the song. Fans have remixed it. Fans have used AI to try to recreate it. There's been no different, what do they call those theories? Something theories?
Conspiracy theories?
Conspiracy theories as to the source of it.
What?
Some people believe it was faked just to get the sort of viral attention. Someone believes they heard it in a McDonald's radio ad from the early 1990s, maybe. Someone did create a fake source of it, but that turned out that was debunked. Anyway, it's set this website and Reddit sort of just ablaze with internet sleuths trying to be the first one to crack this case.
Wow.
Take it a breath.
Before I read on in the article, I listened to the clip that you just played. The things I noticed about it were that, of course, it's very muffled. It's very kind of subdued. It sounds like it's being recorded off of a television because there are less muffled, not so dulled sounds of rustling, like someone, holding a microphone, or like that's very crisp and clear. They're not saying anything, but kind of a jiggling of something in their hand or whatever, like when Will rattles his paper. That's clear. So it's being recorded off of a set or something,
John, it's so
Yes.
funny you say that, and I know I know kind of what you're doing, but I don't know if you know exactly what you're doing.
Okay.
But I noticed that too.
I might.
I noticed that too. There's some kind of sounds in this. I think what you're suggesting is maybe it's the sound of someone recording it off of something else. It's not a direct recording.
Right.
Yes.
Certainly.
Yes.
And you can hear that they are in the room, and that sound is also in there and not as muffled.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yes. Well, a Redditor who goes by the handle Cotton Underground and moderates the Everyone Knows That forum, which was launched in June of 2023 to advance the search for details about the track, told Rolling Stone that it's tantalizing to be faced with such an enigma in this day and age. Quote, why are we obsessed with it? On the one hand, it's an incredibly catchy and recognizable tune, while on the other hand, loaded with mystery. Especially in 2023, with everything digitized and music freely available, it's probably very interesting to a lot of young people that this song is seemingly untraceable.
Because young people have not experienced that like we have.
Right.
They didn't have the benefit of going weeks and weeks without knowing the answer to something.
Right.
Right? You go, what the hell was that guy's name? You ask somebody, you call the damn library, you call your cousin. My uncle was there. He knows it. I don't remember. I wasn't there. Damn it. And then one day, when it comes to you, you're like, oh my God, now I know who it was. Damn Randy Quaid. I should have known. Right? Whatever it was.
You're right.
Young people don't have that.
It's driving them crazy, which is that's got to be the phenomenon, right? That you get 50,000 people interested in solving this mystery from a song from the 1980s.
Right.
Because it's counterintuitively fun.
Yeah.
You think it's not fun to not know. It isn't, but it's fun to then know when you've done the work.
Yes. Yeah.
Or your brain
it's
did it. Yeah,
it's interesting that you can get them to research this kind of thing and not get most people to look into things that actually matter.
Such a good
like
point.
a 90-minute Excel
Like
spreadsheet assignment.
Right.
I'm trying to get a job.
I don't have time to do that job.
Right. I'm trying to figure out this stupid song. I don't have time.
Right.
I need to go to my subreddit.
Well, I'll tell you where you stand now.
Anyway, so after years of false leads, the musicians behind the mysterious 1980s pop tune, commonly referred to as Everyone Knows That, or EKT, have been identified. They're Christopher St. Booth, who sang the vocals on the beguiling track, and his identical twin brother, Philip Adrian Booth, who played the guitar. The Booth brothers, it turns out, had long forgotten they made it, and until the end of April, remained completely unaware that for years, a fragment of their track had become a viral hit. But once a couple of Redditors cracked the case and named them as the musicians behind it, they were deluged with phone messages and comments on social media that they couldn't quite understand at first. Per Christopher, quote, someone sent me a link to the Rolling Stone article about Lost Wave sleuths looking for the complete song. Then I heard the song and I went, oh yeah, that's us. That's how we found out. End quote.
That's cool.
The pop song, which is actually called Ulterior Motives, was recorded around 1986 and was intended to improve the fortunes of the struggling musicians. And while ultimately the Booth brothers' relationship with Smokey Robinson's producer Gary Gottsman resulted in a record deal, Ulterior Motives was not released on an album. Instead, it was for another audience. Back to 2024 for a moment here.
Here we are.
Among the, this is how they discover. So among the thousands of sleuths on the case, Redditors One Truth 5687 and South Pole Ball made a breakthrough on April 28th, so just a couple of weeks ago, One Truth posted that he, quote, found a video on YouTube of a scene from an adult movie that had a song which sounded very similar to EKT, end quote. Now, how he found that scene on YouTube is unclear. He noted, however, that the description of the video included the names Christopher St. Booth and Philip Adrian Booth. And after, quote, skimming 12 hours of porn with the assistance of South Pole Ball, the source of the clip was found.
12 hours, huh?
It was skimming, yeah. That's another thing they call it. It was part of the soundtrack of the 1986 adult film Angels of Passion.
I think that's it. No, keep skimming.
Well, I just heard it, though.
I'm not sure. Keep skimming.
You realize that song was like 3 or 4 scenes ago, right?
Well, you don't know if it's not going to have a reprise? Come on.
Yes, right.
Keep skimming.
You're waiting for that one blonde to reprise. I know. Hey, John, this is one of those.
Never.
This is one of those movies that we talked about. You know, back in the 1980s, had a big budget, $10,000 to $15,000. You know, had a storyline, several scenes, music. Anyway, in the early 20s, in the 1980s, the Booth brothers did anything for work, male prostitute, to support their true passion as musicians. And among the various jobs we were just talking about the jobs we've had. Well, among the various jobs they did, what seems to me to be the most disheartening one, at least in Hollywood, as far as I can imagine, is they worked the craft services table on porn shoots. Now, you think most restaurants have that no shirt, no shoes, no service sign because it's an eating establishment? What is it on a porn shoot?
Yeah.
I want a bagel. Well, so your hands are full.
Oh.
Well,
Give me a second. I'll take
Hook
a
her
baker's
up.
dozen. Anyway, while working on adult movie sets, they soon learned that the producers of the film needed music, and according to the Booths, they were paid, quote, quite a bit of money, end quote, for some music to use behind the scenes. Angels of Passions, it turns out, is just one of several films that they scored in their youths. Now, they plan to release Ulterior Motives. Now the brothers plan to release Ulterior Motives, and if there's an audience for it, they say they've got a whole album worth of music that's just like it, that sounds like Culture Club, Depeche Mode, George Michael, ABC, and the other bands that influenced them in the 1980s.
Yep.
yeah.
But
I think they're in for a stark reality check when they find out that people weren't in love with their music style. They were in love with not knowing, you know?
Yes.
well,
Yes.
yes, well, yeah, huh? I was going to say and these folks actually didn't know the source of it, so they didn't see the scene that was accompanying the music, so that's not what their interest was either. But the brothers would point out that because they haven't been able to locate the original track, the masters for the original track, they may have to re-record it. And after noting that he, quote, sounded like a 13-year-old girl back then, end quote, Christopher notes that he might have to, quote, squeeze my balls to sing that high now, end quote.
Maybe that's what Randy Travis did.
Oh.
Maybe it wasn't AI at all.
Or maybe.
Wait, he has a... What's the opposite? Because he has a pretty deep, soulful voice.
The secret to sing like you used to, just give a little squeeze.
Or maybe there's some super glue involved.
Oh, my.
Cover that butthole. Now, I find this interesting. Regarding the anonymous user that I told you about that kicked off this global manhunt in 2021, Carl92,
Yeah.
he has disappeared from WatZatSong. And according to Philip, one of the brothers I just told you about, he heard that Carl92 went into hiding instead of admitting he heard the song in a porn. It's
What is
still
he, cat?
It sounds like me, yeah.
Just admit you've watched it. It's okay. We're not going to judge.
That's what I would think. And it's still, look,
it.
if you remember, Carl explained that he found this on a DVD backup while he was experimenting or learning how to capture audio. That sounds like a bullshit thing. Unless he was, it sounds like more like he was maybe ripping a porn from VHS to DVD. That's probably what he was doing.
So that brings me back to my previous question.
Yes.
when I listen to the sample, I can hear the muffled coming off the television, but something else happening in the foreground. I'm wondering what was happening in the foreground that I had previously attributed to rustling of the mic. Was perhaps rustling of something else?
John?
Yes.
Because I'm a journalist.
So you said.
I watched Angels of Passion.
Oh, did
I
you?
actually
Just
skimmed
skimmed.
it.
Just skimmed it.
I skimmed it.
Oh.
I skimmed it. I skimmed it myself.
He skimmed the 90-minute film for 2.5 hours.
The movie is long. It might be an hour and a half long. It's pretty long.
I'm just
Hour
guessing
and
it was
90
90 minutes.
90 minutes.
It's over 80
90
minutes long, I'm
minutes,
pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay.
But in the song doesn't come till towards the end. It's one of the last, if not the last scenes. I didn't watch beyond it, so I don't know if there was much more after.
Oh, I'm sorry you had to go through so much to get to that part. Will.
It turns out the rustling you hear, John, is in the film.
What?
And
Really?
it's the sound of love making.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Well,
And the
wait,
reason, honestly, yeah, go ahead.
in the movie, is it like is it music that's playing over the lovemaking, or is there a TV or radio in the movie in the background? Because it sounds.
Kat, I have a clip. Hang on, I'm going to show it to you. Hold on.
Oh no!
Don't close your eyes.
No!
Musical accompaniment, if you will.
Kat, in the porn in those days, as the cliche goes, John makes his bass sound when we talk about this sometimes. It was just it would play in the background while people are doing the action.
Like
It was like the score.
in the room that they were in, it was like there was music.
It's not
playing.
diegetic. Yeah, it's not diegetic, as if they have a radio or a record to put on.
No, I understand
it doesn't
Kat's
exist
question.
in their world. It doesn't
She's
exist
asking
in their world.
because the two sounds seem to our ear to have a different timbre. Was one of them actually like playing on a radio on the table in the room? But no, it was not. It just happened to be a different timbre. And the other sounds, the noises were
That's
much
what you're
clearer.
hearing, John. You're hearing that.
In
You're hearing
fact.
You can picture exactly what's happening during the time. Now, what I had hoped, honestly, was I thought it would be a comical moment, or it might help. It might have helped shed light on whether Carl 92 was embarrassed or not. Was if after that 17-second clip, the next 18, sorry, at the 18-second mark and beyond, the song continues, but you hear, that's what I was hoping for.
Oh, were you?
So I could
cut
play
it off
you.
there.
Yeah, so I could say, well, here's the rest of it that you didn't hear, that Carl didn't share. It turns out, no. Among all the scenes I skimmed through, this is the least vocal between the performers. There's not a whole lot of sounds coming out of them. The little sound we hear is generated by the
You can
frictions.
truly appreciate the soundtrack then.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yes.
The producer's like, we're paying for this. We got to hear the lyrics. Keep it down.
Got to have the music in the forefront.
Guys, could you please keep the humping to a minimum? We're trying to listen to this
Yes.
great track.
No one's paying the
Talent.
Hear you guys. Now, John, you were sort of implying that what's there being embarrassed about these days, right? Now, I don't know. This Carl 92, I don't know what the 92 means. Maybe he graduated in high school 92, maybe college. Maybe that's irrelevant. Maybe he was born in 92. Maybe it's just a random number.
Maybe it was
only say
92
that-
and that's why he disappeared now.
Oh,
He just died.
maybe he's not around anymore.
He never comes around Reddit anymore.
I say that only to say that maybe he's of a generation where it's not as easy to discuss these things, and so it's. But nowadays, kids seem to be desensitized to it. I thought, except for the fact that on this Reddit chain, there's tons of people attempting to shame him for not admitting that he was watching porn or watching porn. And
Both ways?
You can't have it both ways.
Wow.
Yeah, you exactly, Kat.
Well, you're right. I guess it leaned more on the fact that they were trying to shame him for watching porn.
Okay.
That's ridiculous.
Because and this is how I learned this phrase, because a lot of them were saying the biggest twist in this whole story is it turns out Carl was a gooner. And I was like, well, what's a gooner?
Oh,
And they were referring to him instead as Freak 92 and all these kinds of things that seem to be, again, intended to embarrass him for having seen it in porn.
huh.
So what's a
seen it in
gooner?
porn.
So what is it?
Yeah, we circled
not know?
back around to this
No.
word that we started out with.
So gooning, it turns out, is the idea. Gooning is synonymous with edging.
Ah, okay.
That doesn't help me.
Yeah, I knew it wouldn't. I knew it would help John and not you, but that saved me from having to explain it.
I mean, what?
Sorry. Yes. This is the first I'm hearing of this. John, hands above the table.
I was
Have you been
I was
gooning this
very
whole time?
anxious when you said the biggest twist in this whole story was in the like, whoo! I wasn't sure where that was going.
Yeah, no. Gooning cat is, or edging is the idea of keeping yourself in the sort of euphoria right before climax,
Oh.
but never letting yourself finish.
Oh, okay. Okay. Never?
Yeah. Miss So says Gooner is the adult parody of Goonies. So it's a wonder that John knows what it is.
Yes. How can this be?
Gooner. And again, and that also is looked upon negatively, or asking for a friend?
And never?
In this chain it is. Now it's so funny because so many Reddits are not safe for work that are, dedicated to adult content. So I don't know. I thought I understood Reddit, but I don't.
Wait, can we go back to this? Never?
Yeah. Never what?
Kat's very concerned for our health.
Never what?
Never? Like, it's just you're on the edge, and then
never.
Right.
You
Kat,
just walk around like that?
It's I can illustrate, Kat. It's like this. Ready?
Oh, don't illustrate. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Dun, da, 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 da. That's all.
There you go.
That's all we
Forever.
have. That's it.
Okay.
That's all.
I'll take 2 taco supremes. And a choco taco.
We are not the people. Stop telling me your personal problems.
And why do
damn
you seem
Taco
euphoric, but as if you haven't had any release? It's forever.
Wow.
It's forever.
That
Isn't that
guy
what you're
really
thinking,
likes
Kat?
the fire sauce.
And I need a lot of fire sauce.
If you know what I mean.
Kat, I don't know, Kat. I mean, do you mean like that session is, that's just how you end it? Like you just all right, walk away?
Yeah, you used the word never. And I was like, wait, really? Like,
I don't
Really
know.
hung up on that. It's problematic for Kat.
yeah.
I honestly don't know.
That's okay.
I don't know. I'll dig into it and let you know.
Okay.
Nor do I, should anyone ask.